Join the conversation
with Richard Dean, Brandy Scott and Tom Urquhart.
You're listening to The Business Breakfast on Dubai Eye on One. Right, here we go. The interview that we've been waiting for this morning, because we're going to speak to the real estate firm that says it has already generated half of its 2020 revenues in 2021. We're only at the end of the first quarter. No prizes for guessing who we're speaking to now, although... Is he winning our Microsoft Teams competition for the best location, Richard Dean? We've been surreptitiously judging everybody's backdrops. Lewis Allsopp, CEO of Allsopp Allsopp, make your own mind up about the backdrop if you are watching us this morning on Dubai One. Lewis, great to speak to you.
Good morning, you okay?
I'm good, mate. I am good. Right, I've got your Q1 report in front of me. You are at 50% of what would have been your annual revenue last year already. Do you want to give us those numbers?
Transactions, 50% up on revenue for the year. So we've nearly hit our half a year last year turnover. And the year before that, we grew 20%. So everything from mortgage transactions to buyer registrations, everything is in the green, which I know, the people, the doubters in the property market won't want to hear, but the market is in an incredible place at the moment. I mean, just the feel-good factor from not only sellers. Sellers are now, after 7 years of owning houses, everyone's saying the prices are going down. Fair play to the sellers. Sellers are now, actually making money on their property, and buyers are willing to buy at the new prices. So there's just a real good feel factor. I've not seen it in a few years, but agents are happy, sellers are happy, buyers are happy. It's a good market, really good market.
So let's look at Q1. You've got transactions up 82% on what we saw Q1 last year. I'm presuming that March was a bit of a write-off last year. But what are we seeing in terms of the numbers of properties that are actually shifting?
The numbers, again, are up 50%, 82% as a company. What I find interesting on the market, we talk about the numbers, is it's not only... The market we were in before was villas at 2 and 3 million. The transactions now, the big buyers are coming out of the market. It's not untold of now to sell a 15, 16, 20 million dirham villas. So there's a lot of luxury money coming into the market, as well as the standard villa and transaction market. So it's definitely, I think maybe investors have seen and end users have seen that it is an undervalued property market based on 7 years of a dip.
Who's buying that luxury property, Allsopp? Where is that luxury money coming from?
Both of them had sold their villas in Dubai and bought back on. So that is quite a massive part of the market. Anyone listening and want to understand the property market and how you judge the health is, if you think about it like this: the planes and aerospace has been closed for a year, and Dubai property market has still boomed. And what that says to me is that the cycle of people living in Dubai has created an organic environment where people are selling and buying and buying and selling. So as much as we want international trade, it's now also a predominantly local trade that is really keeping the market going.
Oh, I'm going to disagree with you that our airspace has been closed for a year, Lewis, and I think a lot of the hoteliers that are at their full cap of 70% occupancy, particularly the beach hotels, might do so as well. But I take your point that it is not movement or business as usual. Look, you've got transactions up 82%, mortgages up 63%. Does that suggest that more properties are being bought without finance?
No, I would say, like I said, 62% of our clients, which is what's that, 2/3 of the whole market is mortgages. So I predominantly would say that most people buying are end users. There is the 1/3 investors, but like I said to you, we're going to agree to disagree. I don't think it's easy to come to Dubai at the moment with the PCRs and everything else. Dubai has done an incredible job with the vaccines and the testing, but Dubai is open, but it's not fully open. I'm sure if you looked at the amount of numbers that entered the airport, I think it's down a considerable amount. So, it's an opinion-based situation, but I'm sure when the airports do fully open up, we're going to see our transactions dramatically increase again.
So talk to me about viewing numbers, Lewis, because that's one of the most surprising things to come out of this report. You've seen a relatively small rise in the number of people physically looking at properties compared to the amount that are moving.
Yeah, it's sort of that it didn't shock me when I seen the numbers. So if you'd said to me 2 years ago this was happening, I would have laughed at you. But the amount of people that have gone on a virtual tour or a 3D and said, right, I know this floor plan, I know this villa. It may be tenanted and the tenants may be scared of letting you in because of the COVID situation, or maybe someone that knows the floor plan. People are making decisions based on the knowledge they have without even going there. And for me, 2 years ago it would have surprised me, but 80% of our listings now have 3D tours and they have visuals because people are making decisions a lot quicker. And the reality is, in this market, buyers don't have a lot of time. What's happening in the market, and this is where property portals are starting to suffer, as soon as an agent gets a listing and we're going to put it online, we've already got viewings. We've already got 10, 11, 15 viewings lined up for buyers. So there's a reason that people are just quick to off the market at the moment as well.
Is it also the case, Lewis, that there are less properties in each category for people to view? So if I'm after, say, a 3-bed in the ranches and there are maybe 5 to 10 that suit my specs rather than a couple of dozen, I'd be looking at less.
There is a major, and I've said this for last year, and I think people laughed at me when I said it, but there is a major undersupply of property, and that's not going anywhere. This is what's going to drive the price. If you take into consideration the springs, the lakes, the meadows, ranches, there is no new builds happening. There's nothing there. So there's a lot of buyers that want to move into these areas, and the amount of units hasn't increased. So what we're finding is that viewing numbers are down for, let's say, the ranches, but that buyer in the ranches is now going to Al Gaff, or they're going to Victory Heights, and they're going to Jumeirah Golf Estate. So they're having a good look around, but there is a dramatic undersupply. You can see our marketing campaigns. Our marketing campaigns now are based around, we need people to sell the house to us. Because if we get the listing as a company, we're confident we're going to get the buyers.
Okay, but if you drive down the Scheme corridor, for example, there's property to the left of you, property to the right of you. Is it just that it's not on the market? And if so, why is that?
A lot of sellers at the moment are not willing to put their properties on the market because they know they're going to sell. But, I mean, you've got to take it area to area, because I heard someone say before, someone commented to me saying, I live in this compound and this compound is empty. Any of these older developments, they have a problem in this market because there's so much new, modern communities in place where, Nshama handed over. If anyone's been to Nshama, you've got kids' parks, pools, you've got tennis courts. Why would someone move to these older compounds? And this is a problem that Dubai is facing at the moment, which is going through the regeneration project around Al Wasl. These old compounds are going to be vacant unless they convert into something more modern. So yes, there's going to be vacant properties, but the vacant properties genuinely are not in your core areas that the expatriates are looking in. They're more local based.
At what stage does something here become an old property, Lewis?
I don't think it's the age of the property, it's the community. So a property could be 20 years old. My house I live in now is 13 years old, but I've got parks around me and there's families and communities. I mean, I've lived in compounds before, and you've got your 8 villas around a massive wall and a pool in the middle. People don't want that anymore. That's Dubai from maybe 1990. Dubai has evolved so far that people are now buying into communities over villas. Villas, you can turn the insides into anything you want. I would say 1 out of 3 properties, buyers are knocking down walls, putting their own kitchens in, doing their own specs. So the location is probably the biggest thing to a buyer.
There you go, location. Lewis Allsopp, the CEO of Allsopp Allsopp, joining us this morning via Microsoft Teams, so we can see him as well as hear him.